What's going on, guys? It's Suk and I am back with a brand new video on SuperDuprTech, and in today's video I'll be showing you the results that I got when benchmarking the 2019 base 16-inch MacBook Pro. We are on the road to 5,000 subscribers, and if you are new around here, then I must ask you to hit the subscribe button, clicking the bell to be notified of when I upload any of my new videos. Without any further ado, let's hit the titles. The first benchmarking application that I ran was Geekbench 4. Now Geekbench is good as it runs a number of different tests and algorithms, and depending on how it performed and how long it took to perform them, it will then give a score accordingly. Now with this I got a single core score of 5,097 with a multi-core score of 22,340. I also performed a number of tests using the integrated GPU and the dedicated GPU using Geekbench's OpenGL and Metal tests, which are designed to see how well they perform using said graphics APIs. When looking at the OpenGL tests using the dedicated graphics card, we can see more than a 160% increase in performance over using the Intel UHD Graphics 630. Also, when using the Radeon Pro 5300M, we see an increase in more than 260% in performance over using the integrated graphics, which is to be expected, but nevertheless it is good to see that this percentage is increasing. The next testing application that I ran was once again from Geekbench, this time testing their newer version of Geekbench 5, which has an increased amount of tests which are further designed to tax the machine when compared to Geekbench 4, but the scores are once again based off of the performance and the time taken. So when testing the CPU, I got a single core score of 954, whereas I got a multi-core score of 5,608. Again, I tested out how well both the integrated and dedicated graphics performed when using the OpenGL and Metal API. The scores that I got for this are of course on screen, and when looking at these scores that I got for the OpenGL tests, there was a massive increase in performance when using the Radeon Pro 5300M, with scores over 400% higher when compared to using the Intel UHD Graphics 630. Along with this, when testing out the Metal API, the scores that I got weren't too far off, with an approximately 390% increase in performance. The next benchmarking application that I ran on this MacBook Pro was GFXBench Metal, which is once again designed to test out the performance of the Radeon Pro 5300M when running graphics on the Metal API. Now GFXBench runs a number of different tests at both higher and lower levels of intensity, for which I've calculated the average across this category, but of course as always I will show you each individual result. So for the higher intensive graphics tasks, I got an average frame rate of around 190.97 frames per second, whereas for the lower I got an average of around 208.46 frames per second. Next up, I wanted to find out how fast the internal SSD was on this machine, and using Blackmagic's disk speed test, I got read speeds of around 2,730 megabytes per second, with write speeds closer to 2,570. I then ran NovaBench. Now NovaBench is a good general benchmark as it not only tests the CPU and the GPU, but it also tests the storage and the system memory. Now for NovaBench I got a score of 2,166. Next up, I ran a network speed test and consistently got download speeds above 200 megabytes per second, while the upload speeds were around 10% of that speed. I then ran Cinebench. Now Cinebench is a good benchmarking program as it tests each individual thread and then gives a score similarly to how Geekbench gives its scores based on time taken to complete the tasks. Now for Cinebench, I got a score of 2,795. I then exported video footage to H.264 at both Full HD and 4K using Final Cut Pro with background rendering turned off. Now with this, it took around 1 minute and 14 seconds to export the Full HD project, whereas it took a little longer to export the 4K project, taking around 2 minutes and 31 seconds. The last series of tests that I performed came from Unigen, and the first of these was their Heaven benchmarking test, which is a heavy CPU and GPU test which will give a final score based on its performance and the average frame rate for when rendering out a particular scene. Now for this I got an average frame rate of around 85.5 frames per second with a score of 2153. Once again, from Unigen benchmarking tools, the final test that I performed was the Valley test, which performs a similar test to the previous one. Now with this I got an average frame rate of around 91.5 frames per second with a CPU score of 3830. So that has been it for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to smack the thumbs up button, and if you are new around here, then why not subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified of when I upload any of my future videos. If you have got any questions with anything you've seen in this video, then be sure to leave them down below in the comment section, or alternatively you can hit me up on my social media, links to which can be found down below in the description. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.